As we head to the Heartlands here in Kansas, we have a short dash until we get to the playoffs here. After tonight, 4 rounds will set the field for the A Squared Cup Series playoffs, and it's going to be the last couple chances these drivers will have in order to try to clinch their way into the playoffs. Hello, everyone. My name is Kevin Young, proud to bring you the action here again for the Kansas 220 here at Kansas Motor Speedway, presented by 7 Bar Barbecue. We'll take a look at where everyone is during qualifying right now, so we'll get that off the scoop. That's the wrong thing. And we'll pull up the ticker here. We can see over 5 minutes ago in quali right now, this man is currently fastest on the track at the moment. Josh Gaiman just got bumped by Keith Hackney. Give me just 1 second. I was in a bit of a scramble over here at ABN's digital studios. So we're just getting everything quickly running and back in order. There we go. There you see Keith Hackney, our current pole sitter, just finished up his second run in that green and black machine. Patrick Oberstadt just finished his 2 runs as well, and he will put himself P6, leaving us with a handful of cars left to go, trying to beat the times. But right now, Hackney, Gaiman, Marshall, Estes, and Oberstadt, your top 6. Matthew Kent now escaping the pit lane here. He will be on Flyers along with Mike LaJoy and Chris Fleming. So we'll stick on board here with Chris Fleming, as he was the first of the 3 to put down a qualifying lap. So we'll let him go for a lap round here, and we'll also ride on board with the driver of the 38 machine, our Daytona 500 winner, and Chris Fleming. So Kansas being multi-groove, drivers will feel the urge to go high, low, and middle. They'll use those extra grooves to their advantage, and they'll be able to kind of push the throttle. It's going to be a little bit of a lift to get in and out of corners, but for the most part, cars will be able to push as they do so choose. So first lap in the book for Chris Fleming will put him upwards to P15, and he'll have a second run in here in a moment, and we'll see what he can do here. While we got this opportunity, we should also let you know, and the viewers at home, we do have the finale of the Bracket Challenge tonight. 2 drivers will be battling it out for the trophy, and we will go over those 2 drivers in just a second as we wait for Fleming to finish his lap. But those 2 drivers, let's finish the lap first. We'll see coming across the line, Fleming will put the car. Will he improve on his second lap? He will move it up to P3, so that is how you get the job done here at Kansas, putting down 2 great blistering laps. Michael Joy and his 2-run average will also put his car in P8. But we will now cut to our current points leader, John Hagan, who's looking poised to have a good battle in the sun, or the failing sun, I should say, last week at Darlington, but ended up having a bit of oversteer that took him out of contention for running for the win at Darlington. We'll see if he can bounce back here at Kansas. He'll have 2 laps to put it on pole position. But while he does that, to finish my non sequitur, the Bracket Challenge does complete tonight, and the final 2 drivers in the challenge, Zach Millett, who came from the 2nd C, and went through the order of beating Matt Fordon, Brian Dixon, and his own teammate Brandon Featherplace to get here. And then we got Joshua Battles, who had a magical run, some would say, coming as a 21C, beating Seth Wanzing, Chris Fleming, and Kevin Feemster to get his ticket punched into the Bracket Challenge. So we'll keep an eye on both of those drivers here tonight. And we'll see at the end of it, one of the drivers will win, and will win a prize. And at the same point, for everyone in the A Squared server, they've been playing along with their own brackets, predicting who they think was at the Estium to have the best bracket, and we'll see how that plays as well. But as Hagan finishes his 2nd lap here, and he will put a pole position lap down, a 10th clear of Hackney and Gaiman. That's as much as you like from the defending series champion, and that will be position number 1. As Brian Johnson also just finished up his 2 laps, he will also put the car in P20. So that is pretty much it for qualifying. Only 1 car has yet to do a lap yet. His name is Ross Baxter, and with only a minute 50 on the clock, he will more than not likely be able to take a lap. So the field is set as we get going here. Your top 5 at the moment, and will be the top 5 for the race, will be Hagan, Hackney, Gaiman, Fleming, and Marshall. A lot of surnames starting up in the top echelon of the alphabet. Again, like always, I'd like to thank Just the Top for sponsoring this qualifying session. Absolutely sponsored last year, and it's great to see them sponsoring again this year. So with qualifying kind of just reaching a lull here, as we got a minute to go in the session before we see an advancement. Obviously, again, Brian Johnson's biggest supporter in chat, always here every week. Love to see them in the chat supporting their favorite driver. We'll see what he can do here. Obviously going to have to come from a little bit further back, P20, but Johnson has shown steady improvements week in and week out. He could easily be a driver that is consistent enough that if a strategy plays his way, he could be knocking on the door, finding his way in to a top 10 or maybe even a win if things play out quite well. Speaking of, while we got this last 30 seconds, we'll take a quick look at some of the points here. Obviously, we'll go over the details after Darlington, where some of the drivers are, because we have eligibility things and all the things in between to go over where everyone is. And we'll go over that in the warm-up, because that will take at least a minute or two to explain what's going on. However, with 10 seconds to go, track is quiet. Will not be quiet for long, as these drivers will have to get ready to grip up. First, we'll have the 5-minute warm-up, and then it will be lights to flag with non-stop action. So session is officially complete. We now head on to warm-up. So drivers now will have 5 minutes to take an opportunity to go around this track, and will elect to use this opportunity for their own benefit, presumably. We'll get the flag session set to green here. So as drivers head out onto the track, we'll see if we can get one of them on the track at the moment. See who the first one out on the track is. Looks like it's going to be Chris Fleming. So we'll actually follow along with him as we do our playoff talk here, as he obviously winning the 500 has guaranteed him a seat, and he's also made 12 starts out of the 14 rounds. So at the moment, he also meets the eligibility requirement. So he is, at the moment, poised to make the playoffs. So at the moment, if we do a quick hard count of the standings, we have 4 drivers automatically locked in at the moment. Featherplace, Marshall, Flemings, and Withers. They've all won. They've won sometime this season. They are locked in the playoffs. John Hagan is in an eligibility concern right now. With the remaining 4 rounds after this, obviously his start tonight will count him towards it. He has to make every race if he wants to defend his championship. Miss 1 week, and ARCS A² rules will dictate he will no longer be fighting for a championship, and his spot will free up someone else. Looking down the ladder, names like Wanzing, Adams, Oberstadt, Dixon, they're all in. Few drivers' eligibility includes that are currently in: Galloway, Roberts, and Markowski, both also at that start limit. Obviously, Zach Millet, we talked to last week, now no longer in it, as we'll cut to him. He's obviously here for tonight's bracket challenge and here for the fun of it, but he will no longer be contending for a championship. So I guess the question is, where does that set the line at the moment? Right now, the line is at this man's feet. Let me just find him in today's session if he is here. Yep, there he is, currently sitting 4th on the timing charts here. Kevin Feemster, currently last driver in, 6 points above Michael Cheeseburger Lawrence for the line. However, because of Hagan, Galloway, Roberts, and Markowski all being on the line right now at the moment of making it or not making it, that can push the line up or down. For instance, Bren Roberts not here tonight, just making sure I don't see him anywhere. He would instantly fall below the line and free up a spot. Meanwhile, Markowski is here. Just saw him earlier, so he is here. Blake Galloway is, I believe, also, yep, he is here as well. So Markowski and Galloway. Just double checking real fast. I swear I saw him out here. Maybe he top of the charts. So sorry, Markowski, saw you right there. There he is. So both of them are here along with Hagan. So at the moment, the line would stay where it is, but if all 4 make it, you got to bump the line up 3 spots. Meaning right now, instead of the bubble being Kevin Feemster, the bubble then changes to be Joshua Battles, who's in our finals of the bracket challenge tonight. He is the current bubble driver in at the moment, trying to fight his way in. And he is only at the moment, doing a quick hard count on math, about 6 points ahead of Ryan Pennell for the last spot, and 6 points also ahead of Dale Markowski. So there's still a lot to play for, and depending on eligibility and concerns and question marks, this line can still change all the way up to Talladega in technically 5 weeks' time, 4 events' time, where we may not even know the full 16 until the the session starts for Talladega, depending on eligibility concerns. So hopefully we'll get a graphic up that obviously after the week break. We'll go over a quick graphic here. Other notable drivers at the moment, also in the playoffs at the moment. In the playoffs, Wanzing, Adams, Oberstadt, Dixon, Gaiman, Kent, Verdon, LaJoy, and Battles would be in the line with every eligible driver in. But obviously the line will change. Ryan Pennell, McDonough, and Feemster in with every eligible driver out. And then you got Michael Cheeseburger Lawrence, first driver out, with Baxter, Hudspeth, Johnson, George, Wood, and Longenecker, taking all the way up to 22nd of the full-time competitors. So with a minute to go here, obviously the tone is set for some of those drivers that have been here at the moment for long, like Lawrence, Baxter, Hudspeth. They could easily find victory here tonight through strategy or pure outright speed, and they could easily flip this season on the head if they're not careful. We also see my little pony scheme there. Let's see who exactly that is. 00 Matt Bourdon. Usually see him in a Harry Potter scheme here, now rocking out the ponies and the Hello Kitties. Very interesting scheme choice, but hey, not going to knock a scheme. It does look pretty perfectly pink, as the kiddies would say, as he now heads out onto the track there and goes in. So we'll get this session underway in just a second here with 17 seconds to go. There's Fleming, gets a little bit loose off corner exit. P2 on the timing charts, but this man, Dale Markowski, will be the fastest in warm-up. It will be Markowski, Fleming, and the hometown boy of Wanzing, your top three in warm-up. But obviously, warm-up speeds, not indicative of race speeds. We'll have to see how it all plays out on the other side. As we turn up my audio real fast, if you are just tuning in, thank you for joining us here. You're just in time for the Kansas 220, presented by 7 Bar Barbecue. Not sure why the mic was so low. We'll have to adjust that accordingly here at Kansas Speedway, Kansas City, USA. As the cars get on the grid, we are going to get ready to see where everyone will file in, and we'll see where they're going to start tonight's festivities. Row number 1 will be John Hagan and Keith Hackney. They'll make up the first row. Moving on to row number 2, we got Josh Gaiman and Chris Fleming. They'll make up row 2. Row 3, Edward Marshall and Toby Estes. Good to see him back in the series. He'll be in the third row. Row 4, Dale Markowski and Patrick Oberstedt. Row number 5, Mike LaJoy and Seth Wanzing. Row 6, Joshua Battles. Remember, keep an eye on him in the bracket challenge. He'll be firing off in row number 6 along with Ethan Wood. Row number 7 will be Zach Millett, the other finalist in the bracket challenge, side by side with Kevin Feemster. Row number 8, Brandon Featherplace and Brian Dixon, teammates. Row number 9, Matthew Kent and Mark Dila. Row 10, Blake Galway and Brian Johnson. Row 11, Ryan Pinnell and Briley Wright. Again, good to see him back in the car. He'll be firing off in row 11, position 22. And then row 12, Kyle McDonough and Matt Fordon. They'll make up the 12th row. And starting up in row 13 will be Ross Baxter, bringing an end to the 23-car field. Obviously, looks like 22 cars will take the flag here. Ross Baxter not going to take the flag here. So, looks like we'll have 24 cars. Sorry, 24 cars in 12 rows. While we got the second, we'll take a quick look at the race information here, just to quickly run over all the information for the viewers at home. We got 150 laps waiting these drivers. Stage breaks at 25 and 75. 6 sets of tires available if so choose. 50% fuel capacities. No fast repairs. And 3 green-white checkered attempts if needed. They have 2 hours and 45 minutes to finish the session, but obviously, with how it's been going of late, let me knock on wood, we should easily get this race done before then. Pace car will pull on off. Controls will be on green for the first start. Every other restart will be on leader's commands. But without ado, let's get this show on the road. Green flag is out, and away we go here at Kansas. So as lap number 1 is completed, Hagan will take the flag there, and he'll set us on our magical journey. Keith Hackney currently sitting in second. We see a bit of a battle here for third. Edward Marshall, one of the big movers at the moment, up 2 spots, more equaled. Now side by side with Gaiman and Fleming. We'll see how this plays out. It's obviously, with it being a multi-groove track, you can be aggressive and run your lines if so chosen. But right now it looks like he's kind of not got the good run-off exit early here. And he's going to at least lose a spot. The Fleming, oh, big hit in the wall there by Markowski. Even Wanzing gets a little bit loose. But we hang on, heading to lap number 3. So we still stay on Marshall here for the moment. See if he can maybe get the run on Gaiman here on corner entry or exit. And this is where we'll find out what drivers are made of here, where they prefer to run their cars. Do they feel confident on the high side, the low side? One driver that feels confident at the moment is Seth Wanzing, who just had the fast lap of this race. And if we go a little bit further back, Markowski maybe struggling a little bit after hitting that wall, beginning to sink as he's now under pressure. Just lost spot to Wanzing and Oberstadt, and now under pressure from Mike LaJoie. So he's going to have to try to get this bleeding to stop and get it to stop in quickly if he wants to find a way to head forward here, as now he's even going to get attacked by Mike LaJoie. Ooh, big over-under line there by Toby Estes. Just trying to keep the car planted, per se. As we go with a nice scenic shot here, you can see it's 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 by 2. We'll go back up to the top 5 here, as they are 3 abreast. Wanzing, Gaiman, Marshall, 4th, 5th, and 6th on track. And keep an eye on that lead. Hagan, Fleming, and Co. almost battling at the moment. We'll see the run we can get. But speaking of drivers that got a great run, look at that run Seth Wanzing got. Got a 2-1 special put on the blue light. And now he's going to try to make a move on the Conti sim racing machine of Keith Hackney. And as clean as you like, that's 3 spots made by Wanzing. Obviously, Wanzing at the moment, we know this is home track. He's had speed fair in the past. He's even punched his ticket into the playoffs here before 2 seasons ago. Obviously, a 2-time champion, knows how to drive this car and drive it well. Well, at least that was before the next gen. However, still had some strong drivings in the next gen. We'll have to see how he drives out here tonight, but definitely showing strength. He's got to be wary of strategy that's taken him down previous weeks and tire life. Speaking of, you can see the battle for the lead. Chris Fleming, he wants to take in his Mobil 1 Chevrolet. He will not lead that lap, but he is etching on the door of trying to get that lead spot here, as now Wanzing is going to try to go on the high side here. Obviously, you can see in the far shot there, other battles beginning to kind of play out here. We see Edward Marshall slot behind that. Look at Wanzing make that move high to low. That thing looks like it's hooked on rails, and he will clear Hagan. So we have our first lead change of the night. Wanzing will lead that lap on lap number 7, as that Hendrick Chevrolet machine looks hooked up at the moment. But obviously, again, got to make sure to save tires. As obviously, first stage tire wear, not the most important, but obviously 25 laps is a long time, and we may see drivers just slowly start to fall off by the long on the run, and this could be indicative. Further back, we see right now Gaiman, Marshall, Markowski, Feemster, and LaJoie all under a blanket here. Last spot in at the moment is Patrick Oberstadt on stage points in that number 60 machine, as he's trying to hang on here. Obviously, different parts of the track have different pros and cons. If you run high, per se, less throttle can save a little bit more fuel. However, on the risk of the point as well, you're more likely to burn the tires as you're obviously a little bit higher up to the wall. Oh, Feemster hits the wall there just a tiny bit, speaking of the wall. However, you run low, you're more likely to arch down the corner. It just comes down to preference, as we see Markowski almost get in the game in there. They'll settle it out between themselves. Right now, back up to the lead. You can see a little bit of a battle beginning to brew here. Hagan getting a run here on Wanzing, but just can't fully get the job done. Now Chris Fleming, he's been knocking and knocking on the door, and he will get a round here. John Hagan, well, at the moment, he'll hit the wall. That should slow him up just enough, and you can see he gets stuck on it. So you go from the highest of highs, the lowest of lows, and now he's under a pack here. Going to even get caught by Dale Markowski. We're right on board with Markowski here, because he's got a pretty good seat in the house. Obviously nowhere to take that 33, and you can see the effects that's had. Ooh, bit of a blink by game in there. That can be a bit sketchy, especially not knowing where a car is. Still 3 wide. You don't want to hear that in the cockpit when you hear your spotter say 3 wide, 3 wide, 3 wide constantly. Still there, as Fleming is still trying to chip away on that high side, trying to find that way around. You can see Marshall go way low to try to arc the corner. Ooh, Fleming gets a little loose right into game, and that's going to spin him around here. Markowski way off into the road here. He is backwards. Going to get hit by the 39 of McDonough. There's Fleming, very heavily destroyed. As that probably is going to be race done for him. Keith Hackney also involved. You can see heavily scratches on that machine. Obviously, Dale Markowski went over, just got hit by McDonough. Speaking of McDonough, there he is in that 39. Heavy damage on the right front. See if anyone else of note was involved. But yeah, Fleming just had to jump the pits. Mike LaJoy also involved as well. So we'll take a look here and see. We obviously saw what happened from our perspective, but we'll take another look as well. So we will pull this up for a second, and now we'll take a look. So we'll go with our trusty eye and sky cameras. I love to pull that out in these situations. Nice chopper cam. We're going to go up just a bit to the 38 machine of Chris Fleming, and we're going to take a quick look here. We'll slow it down. We'll see what exactly happened here. So Fleming goes up the road here, obviously running up the grooves. Marshall on the low side. Hackney hits the apron there. That gets him a little loose. Ooh, maybe a bit of a checkup. Regardless, Gaiman gets into the back corner panel. It looks like Hackney also got loose on his own. So two separate incidences between Hackney and Fleming. Nowhere for Mike LaJoy to go. You can see he goes low. Great avoidance by Patrick Oberstadt, though. Now we'll play it at full speed here just to watch the rest of it play out. Yeah, look at that avoidance by Oberstadt. Almost ends up piling into that thing, but luckily avoids it at the last second. We'll now watch on board with Chris. We'll watch around with not the 60 of Patrick Oberstadt. We'll follow with the 69 of Keith Hackney, and we'll play it out here. Obviously, he's in the second part. He gets a little loose, clips the apron, and you can see also up the road as well, the 38 of Fleming gets a little bit of a bobble, and that shows the effect. And obviously, not favorable. It looks like the car's relatively okay, but still a bit of a pride burster there. We'll also go up the road now. We'll watch again with a better angle here with the 38 machine. We'll play it out again. You can just see he gets a little bit of a loose run there, and Gaiman just obviously tries to fit the hole, but just kind of runs into the corner panel. Regardless, that is going to be a lot of damage, as you see nowhere for a 38 to go. We'll take two more looks. This time we'll ride on board with the 61 machine of Josh Gaiman, as we'll get on board with him real fast. We'll watch his perspective. Yeah, just check up, try to run it, and just happen to hit the corner panel. And obviously you can see at the point, this car's been in the fan out. And we'll take one more look real fast. We'll take a look at the 60 machine of Patrick Oberstadt and watch his perspective. He's going to have a wild ride too. Yeah, just the bobble. Look, goes low. Voids Markowski, trying to avoid Fleming, and just as you like, just did a crossover, and Oberstadt will keep his car clean in this race. So back to live action as cars get caught up here. We just got the one to go as well, so we're back just in time. As you see, Wansing and Hagen now will get re-arced up here. They will be in row number 1. Obviously, there you can see Matt Vordon. He'll escape pit lane as well. Will not go lap down. Try to come in a little bit extra here to fix up. At least, looks like he fixed up some damage, so he may have had something wrong with the machine. So it's Wansing, Hagen, Gaiman, Marshall, Dixon, Battles, Pinnell, Estes, Wood, Featherplace, your top 10. 20 cars still running. Vordon running, but a lap down at the moment. McDonough with a lengthy damage clock along with Fleming. And we also have Dale Markowski out of this race. So at the moment, it looks like about 3 cars in the retirement zone in Fleming, Markowski, and McDonough. But we'll see how it plays out up front. Seth Wansing will have control of this restart. Can he keep the car pointing in the right direction, or will he maybe get caught by Hagen in the field? Only one way to find out. As they enter the restart zone, a green flag is out, and away we go. Good launch by Wansing, and now Marshall going to try to follow in on that inside line. Marshall trying to go low. Wansing going to come up and low there. Remember, Marshall is teammates with Seth Wansing. So obviously it's good to have friends in good places right now. So obviously Marshall will be respectful if he gets to battle Wansing, but at the same point will try to help Wansing when he can. Look at Wansing. Going to slide jump up Hagen. I don't think Hagen's going to be too thrilled about that. Obviously only lap 16, so tempers may flare a little, but unlikely that will continue onward. But late on in the race, you do that again, you may end up going in the fence. Marshall, great run on the inside line, though. Going to try to chip away and make a move on Hagen, For those at home, stage ends on lap 25. So we're coming close to the end of the stage here. And look at that move for the lead right there. Looking over at my stage notes, we got Hagen clearing Wanzing. He will take the lead back. Similar to Buscher and Larson a year ago, we're seeing a battle shape up between these two. As Marshall gets in the wall a little bit there, he'll get it stuck off. We'll now cut back to our race leaders. And Hagen will get a good drive here. And this is what I was talking about. Tire wear, even though it's a short run, some cars may be set up for short runs, others long runs. So we'll have to note that over the course of the second run here, who may have good car, who may have not good car on longer runs when the tires begin to fall. Hagen will lead that lap. Go a little bit further back here. We'll look for the last stage point. That is currently in the hands of Ethan Wood as they are side by side for 11th. Kent, Galloway, Pennell, 3 abreast here. You also got Patrick Oberstadt and Briley right there filling the spots. It looks like Pennell will win that encounter, but will stay on the battle here as still Kent and Galloway still fighting it out. They just lost one spot. They could be under pressure here to lose another spot here if they're not careful. Further up, you can also see teammates fighting. They were fighting last week. Brandon Featherplace, Zach Millett, currently fighting for 7th. At the moment, obviously you can see right now on track, our bracket challenge drivers fighting it out. Battles and Millett fighting for 6th. Black Acid versus Bowie Esports, and Millett will get clear there, so put Millett up to 6th. Further up the road there, you can see Wanzing under pressure from teammate Marshall. Obviously, Marshall has a win this season, won Indianapolis, along with John Hagen. They have both punched their tickets into the playoffs. Seth Wanzing still trying to find that win along with Gaiman, currently sitting our top 4. And then 2 drivers here for fun at the moment, Estes and Millett, currently sitting in 5th and 6th, respectively. So you see the battle for 2nd and the battle for 4th playing on between Millett and Gaiman, Marshall and Wanzing, as we have 3 to go in the stage. See if the Grizzly machine can get clear. He can, and look at Millett. He has found some long-run speed here. He wants to put that car in a 2nd. He is flying. Remember, worth noting as well, though, he is flying, but he also did take tires on the caution there. One of the few cars to come in along with Briley Wright, so he is using those fresh tires to his advantage, and he looks poised to catch John Hagen at the rate they're going. Yeah, last time by 30.70 for Millett. John Hagen ran a 31.04. He's going to have 2 laps to make up about 4 tenths. But if anyone could do it, that driver, that 31, is more than capable. So as they come up here to the white flag lap, already shaved off 2 tenths. I assume this is going to be as smooth as you like. Wanzing clips the wall a little bit. White flag in the air for stage number 1 as they will call it on 25. Not the end of 25. So the question is, can Millett set up a move here in 3 and 4? What does he have in that car? Getting a great run. He's going to set it up as much as you like on the SRD machine here. Drive low, go high, send it in low. It's a shame these two will not be fighting for a championship due to Millett not making enough races, but we're still going to at least get a treat of action here as they come to the stage, and it is going to be a photo finish, but it's going to be Hagen getting the spot there. So it's going to be Hagen further back. We see Gaiman getting a photo finish over Wright and Wanzing, and Featherplace gets around Battles. So stage number 1 is complete. John Hagen will take the stage glory. Obviously, with the stage not fully getting called and frozen at the point, technically took a second, but Hagen will get credit for it. So as they get caught up to the pace car here, we'll take a quick look at the top 10 here for stage number 1. Hagen, Millett, Marshall, Gaiman, Wanzing, Wright, Estes, Battles, Featherplace, and Dixon will be your top 10. Matthew Kent, first driver out, missing out on points. Wood, Oberstadt, Galloway round out the top 14. So obviously stage number 1, a bit of the shorter one. Obviously we do have some fine information to note. For starters, tire wear is important, and obviously fresh tires do matter, but we can see right there in the span of about 11 laps, Zach Millett was able to carve his way up through the field. Same thing with Briley Wright. They were both able to make their tires work and get firmly inside the top 10. So at least noteworthy at the very least. Drivers can put that information in their back pocket and use that in accordance to know that, obviously, not speaking any new gospel, but at the very least, they can use that information to know that if you're on a short, at least a 10-lap run at the finish, you're going to want to put 4 fresh tires on it. You're going to be a sitting duck if you're not. So as pit stops open up here, we'll see what drivers do. Obviously, everyone should be taking 4 tires of fuel, but we have seen drivers roll the dice and take 2 tires. As if it goes green, there would be at least 1 pit stop in stage number 2 and 3 if it plays out accordingly. So we'll see if anyone rolls the dice and maybe try to see if 2 tires can make it work, but more than likely they would take it on the pit stop in the stage. And away we see driver already rolled the dice. Well, a little bit maybe. It's close off pit lane, and they're going to give it to Millet. So Millet's crew, that strategy of coming in, taking those fresh tires on the stage, will flip it well for Millet, and he will take, at the minute, will be the car that leads us off pole position. Then will be Hagen, Marshall, Wanzing, and Wright, your top 5. Obviously, Wright's crew also gained him a spot as well. So good call there to come in halfway through the stage there, or at least 10 laps of stage, and use those fresh tires to get track position. Obviously, only risk is now they will be in a spot where they'll be low. Yeah, they'll be 1 set less. Obviously, looking in the chat right now, we can see Chris Fleming, I believe that is Chris Fleming, give his thoughts on the incident. Obviously, chalking it up to aero loose with Gaiman behind him, caused the car to get loose, and then caused the accident to occur. And he's very upset that that happened. Obviously, no presumably blame to Gaiman, just unluck of the draw and just felt fast and feels mad he threw away a car that was very strong. So, obviously, it sucks for Fleming. It sucks especially when you have a good car and it feels like things go awry like that. But he's a strong driver. We'll definitely, with some of the playoff tracks being favoring like Kansas and obviously being already locked into the playoffs, he's definitely going to have a good road ahead of him. So we'll have to keep an eye on what he does throughout the rest of the season. So anyway, as we get ready to start stage 2 here, Millet, Hagen will be row 1. Then it will be Marshall and Fleming. Marshall and Fleming? Jeez, I am losing brain. It's going to be Marshall and Wanzing. Wright and Estes, Battles and Feather Place, Kent and Dixon, your top 10. Everyone took 4 tires and fuel. No one tried to roll the dice. And we'll have 20 cars still running and 20 cars on the lead lap. McDonough, Darkowski, and Fleming all out of this race. Green is out, and away we go. Oh, car way in the back. That's Matthew Kent. Got caught napping. He'll save it, though. So we stay green. Looks like he got, I want to say, involved with Feemster because he's a little bit further back, but I don't think it was him. So as we see the end, we see them coming to the line here to start stage number 2. It's going to be the 31, a Millet. Would like to take a quick look here. Don't want to miss his past battle for the action. So we'll take a look maybe when we get a moment. But we'll going on that. So we see him 3 wide in the action here. Hagen, Marshall, and Millet. And thank you for Fleming to tell us the race audio a little bit low. We'll bump that up. Oh, forgot to unmute that. So, yeah, now iRacing should be making noise. So, missed a we scrambled here a little bit to get the broadcast running here. So, sorry about that. Now we have the mics on at the track. So, at least you got my mic, though. So, at least it's not totally bare. So, Hagen, Millet, Marshall, your top 3. And then we can see at the moment Wanzing and Estes fighting it out for 4th right now on the track. Obviously, no, Wanzing has a great short-run car here. We'll have to see how it plays out here with a bit of a longer stage. And you can all see in the distance, Wright and Feather Place, they are side by side as well. as they play for the spot. So we'll actually look at the moment. We'll ride on board with Brian Dixon. He's got a pretty good seat right now of the 2x2x2 action. You can see Marshall and Estes up there. Marshall slot behind. And now you see right now Wright and Feather Place. High line is the preferred line, it seems, at the moment, but that low line can work for you if you know what you're doing. Marshall again got stuck there, and he's going to be under pressure from Estes as we'll now go back to the wide shot just to show you. Marshall going backwards, so it clearly shows he doesn't have the good short run car, as he just seems to be stuck at the moment, falling backwards. Estes, Millett fighting for second here. Worth noting is Millett's third in the standings. Joshua Battles just set the fast lap of the race, as he currently sits in 9th. Hagen covering off those lines well, and Estes will get clear. So put Estes the second. Now Millett trying to hang on that Team Conti machine. He sits in 3rd. His teammates fight for 4th. So those cars fan in and out. We're trying to cover all the action we can here. Up front, though, you can see the battle for the lead. Estes, Hagen, Estes putting a rocket ship on that 23 machine. He will clear, but Hagen going to try to over-under. We saw that move work in the end of stage 1, and it will happen again. Put Hagen back to the lead. So even if you fully clear, you can get that run off. So Hagen again taking that information. Estes sets the fast lap of the race at a 30.45. Hagen, Estes, Millett, your top 3. And we got Briley right there, Seth Wanzing, and then we see the battle between Dixon and Marshall. As Marshall's going the wrong way quickly here. He's gotten to the low side. It seems where that car's a little bit on the stronger ability, but we know he could be a bit at a disadvantage here, so he's just starting to struggle a little bit. So as Dixon gets clear, that will put Marshall now down to 7th. Speaking of, you can see right here as we'll go with another wide shot. Josh Battles right now on that high side, trying to get around Feather Place. 8th and 9th respectively. Blake Galloway, last driver in on stage points. He is under pressure from Mike LaJoy. Remember, one of those cars involved in an opening lap incident. He's recovered the car quite nicely. He's trying to get inside the top 10. Gaiman way slow there on the exit, and he's going to get passed by Oberstadt here. So we'll cut back to what we were just watching. We are keeping an eye on the lead. It's a 10th. It's a close gap, but not a big gap, as we're going to cut back up forward here. Obviously, Estes still hounding the back of Hagen, but not in striking distance. Marshall's coming back on Brian Dixon, at least trying to anyway. Yeah, that low side just not working for Marshall as well. He's just trying to make that car work the way he wants to work. I don't know where because he was running strong in stage 1. Now it seems like he's struggling a little bit to find where to put that car. Maybe just the traffic is hurting him here a bit. Regardless, Marshall will stay in 7th here, just trying to recuperate. Back upward towards the front. Estes hounding the back of Hagen. Now Millett wants to take a crack for 2nd. Got a good run on that low side, but couldn't fully make the drive off work. He'll slot back into 3rd. So at the moment, coming to lap 40, it's Hagen, Estes, Millett, Wright, Wanzing, your top 5. Worth noting, like I said during the pit stop window, that call to come in for 4 fresh tires stage 1 have really helped out the drivers at 31 and 51, as they've been able to flip that stage on its head and now are going to be able to attack here on fresh tires. Speaking of, Seth Wanzing probably right there battling here for 4th. Then you can also see Marshall and Dixon. They're keeping their scrap going here. And almost a 3-wide battle between Battles, Feather Place, and LaJoy. Last 2 drivers inside the top 10 at the moment. Looks like Estes got a good run. Well, thought about getting a run. Saw him low on the groove, but looks like he may have just got a little loose off corner. As he's still chipping away. So as we watch battles on track, well, actually, if we can, we'll ask if Fleming is still watching, if he can give us a little update on what the fuel capacity is for these cars under a green flag run, because under my assumption, we will see at least probably one pit stop here in Stage 2 if it were to run green all the way. Speaking of up front, oh, Wright gets a little bit loose there, trying to hang on to fourth. Millet will get around Estes, so put Millet now up to second, showing he's got that long run car. So Hagen, Millet, your top two. Wright will lose the spot to Wanzing. Oh, Estes way off the track again. He is fighting that car. Third straight time we see him get loose off corner exit of 2, and now he's just going to have to try to regroup here. Question is, did he overcook the tires, overheat them? Is he starting to feel successful with tire wear? Marshall also getting loose as well. So as this track cools down, drivers begin to get to struggle a little bit here. So Marshall jumps ahead of Feather Place. Marshall in 7th, Feather Place now in 8th. Feather Place going to try to answer back here. Oh, Marshall overcorrects it. In the wall he is. Luckily, again, could have been a lot worse. Could have took someone with him. However, he will be okay, at least in the sense of not retirement. But the problem is he is struggling and struggling hard. Galloway, LaJoy, they'll slot in. Marshall there sitting in 10th now, just trying to get the bleeding to stop. Third up, we see Estes. He's kept it under control, but Dixon and Wright now beginning to fight here for 4th. As their battle begins to heat up. So we see Dixon and Wright fight it out here. Maybe, again, Wright struggling here with long run tire wear. As Dixon will get clear. Now Feather Place will get clear as well. Looks like Wright's also dealing with some connectivity. So we'll jump away from him. And we'll go back to show you right now our top two gap beginning to close. Last time we left Millie, he was about 6-7 tenths away. Now he's up to 2 as he is reeling in that number 1 machine. And we will actually have a yellow flag here. We'll see who it's for. It will obviously neutral the field. It looks like it's Josh Gaiman in the 61. He just jumped the pits. Obviously blinking a little bit too, but from inside the blinking, we can see obviously something has happened with the front end. So we'll see if we can pull out what happened to Gaiman here. So here is Gaiman. Obviously alone on the track. Yep. Oh, car kicked. Couldn't save it. And it ended up spinning around, hitting that wall, and destroying the engine. Race done for Gaiman. As there go the leaders by the way, too. So good avoidance there by the leaders. We'll take a second look again. Old Tires looks like they've caught out the driver of the 61. Take a second look as well. Yeah. Absolutely gut-wrenching when the car kicks, can't save it. And you'll just see, again, 2 cars snake around the high side. There they go. And yeah, it is day done for Josh Gaiman. So as the drivers take their pit stops here, I will take a quick break. You're going to get a quick refill of my drink. Don't go anywhere. We'll see the green flag play out, but this should be the final pit stop for Stage 2. As the cars begin to pit here, we'll see if anyone rolls dice. They'll fill you in just one moment. Be back after this 10-second station ID break. All right, as we got just in time. Well, I just got back just in time. We'll take a quick update on the field. Hagen took 4 tires and fuel. Patrick Oberstadt will roll the dice, take 2 tires. That will jump him up to the front row. That's Wanzing, Millet, Estes, Featherplace, Dixon, LaJoy, Wright, Galloway, your top 10. Gaiman's sounding off in the chat for what happened to him. Obviously, he loves the car, but when you get bumped and as light as you've ever been bumped, and it just turns to wrecking undrivable loose. So it looks like the bumps kind of playing him out here at the track and also getting bumped in the corner, making the car very snappy loose. And he's not so happy the car is getting an overhaul from iRacing. But regardless, we'll get ready on the main race. Gaiman a bit frustrated, but the race continues on. Green flag out in the air, 25 laps to go in stage number 2. Good launch there by Hagen. And now we'll see how 2 tires can do here on a run that's a little bit longer than 10 laps. Obviously, Oberstadt, if anyone would do it, Oberstadt seems like a driver that could do it, and he'll put this information in the back pocket. As knowing what your car can do, especially late on a run, can definitely be beneficial. So I have to keep an eye on Oberstadt here and see what those 2 guys can do. Big wall hit for the Levin machine of Josh Battles there. He'll ping-pong off that thing. He keeps all 4 fenders on it. And he'll continue on, but someone may not, as Brian Johnson just got hip-checked. Luckily, won't hit anything. He will get it fired up and going. And he will be away. Obviously, saw it. Spec just got hip-checked a little bit, but he will continue on. Back up front, no caution. Hagen, Wanzing, your top 2. And now Patrick Oberstadt under pressure from Zach Millet. And 3 abreast. Estes, Dixon, Featherplace. Estes will get clear and put himself up to 5th. Oh, 29, a LaJoy in the wall as well. It is pandemonium back here. His cars are fighting to get any sort of real estate they can on the track. Including right here, you can see Millet, Oberstadt, Dixon, Estes. Try to cover it all on our screens. Oberstadt going to try to still hanging on here, showing 2 tires can work if you know what you're doing. And he's got the run off the corner he needs, but you can see, look at Estes just slowly pushing on in our camera shot here. Milt going to stay hanging up on that low side. Will now get clear of the 60, so put the 31 up to 3rd. Now Oberstadt will fall down to 4th, but if he can still, at the very least, hang on to a top 10, it will be before the stage ends. It will be a net gain for Patrick Oberstadt. But easier said than done, is now Brian Dixon will set his sights on trying to get around him. Same thing with Toby Estes. So we hit lap 56 here. It is a parking lot at the very least between the top positions here between Dixon, Oberstadt, Estes, Wright, and the Feather Plays. They're all hitting tracks. Dixon will get clear of Patrick Oberstadt. While we got this quick second just to show you the intervals here, obviously right now gap closing up between Wanzing and Hagen. We've been keeping an eye on it. Wanzing has slowly put in the work, and he's reeled in Hagen, showing that he's got a bit of short-run car. And that could be indicative we get a late caution, but the longer run it goes on, looks like Wanzing is struggling a little bit, so we know he strikes when the kettle's hot and is showing out nicely for the hometown kid, as he currently sits in 2nd, just trying to knock on the door of getting around Hagen. So we'll stay on this battle for just a moment. We're also keeping an eye, obviously, further back as we see positions battle out. Last stage point belongs to this man right now, Blake Galloway, as he's under pressure from Edward Marshall. It just shows you how very close it is on the circuit. Back up to the leagues. We do not want to miss anything if a pass happens here. Tar Heel Blue, John Hagen, and Seth Wanzing in the 5, trying to go low. Just can't fully get the arc he needs. Hagen will hang on. And again, don't look now, but Out of those 3 on the track, fastest car at the moment is actually Brian Dixon in 4th, but that just shows you Millett and Dixon slowly reeling in the top 2 here as they are currently faster, obviously with the help of some clean track, but they are on rails as 2 Bowie Esports cars here trying to crash this top 2 party. As we complete lap 60. See Wanzen again going to try to go low side here on John Hagan. Just can't fully get the job done. So as Hagan is slowly finding the life in those tires. I can find my right camera angle. There we go. Mike LaJoy, Brandon Fedplace, and Patrick Oberstadt here again. Still put note in the pen here that even though with Oberstadt with 2 tires, still running about the same times as the cars around him. So it is showing that 2 tires can work if you need a late gamble tire position if you don't want to take 4. So that could be information that could be useful for anyone needing a late run here, as we also see as well last stage point battle right now. Galloway has it, but Wright and Marshall, obviously Marshall in 9th, Wright in 11th, looking to try to crash that party. So staying on this battle for the moment, we are still keeping an eye on the lead, but right now it is still not in a distance enough that Wanzen can strike. It's close, but he's not there yet. As you see in the far shot there, his ruby red Hendrick car is just not gripped up enough to get there yet, so we'll stay here on this battle. Looks like the field will catch Kevin Feemster in a moment here, as I think he's poised to go. Actually, I think it's either Feemster or Johnson, but they're going to catch a lap down car here in just a second. Actually, we'll see if we can figure out who it is by going on board here with Hagan. Yeah, it is Kevin Feemster, but he's a little bit ways away. Wanzi looks like he's now beginning to fall off on tire wear. He is now fallen into the clutches of Zach Millett here for second. See if that 31 can get around the 5 of Seth Wanzing. This time by, we'll have 10 laps to go on the stage. I saw the 5 switch over, but not technically 5 laps. We have 10 laps. 5's on the screen, but not 5 to go. 10 to go. As we see also Brian Dixon beginning to really reel in that 31. Oh, a little bit of a wall tap there by Marshall. We'll see if that affects speed exit. He is now, again, finding life. So it looks like he's got a very good long-run car here, as the long-run favors the driver of that 16. So we watch Marshall and Featherweights battle on the track. Wanzi's got a bit of a distance to Millett, but they have top 3 have separated out here, so we're just keeping an eye on the last spots, including last stage point at the moment between Galloway and LaJoy. As the stage has just been flying by here. Galloway will hang on to the charge with LaJoy at the moment. Oh, look at that. Featherplate's got loose off exit. That's going to take him out of the stage points here. He is now going to fall 12th, 13th, 14th. Looks like just a snap of oversteer under the exit has caused him time, and now he will have to regroup, try to save the final stage here. Back up at the moment, it's still the John Hagan show, as he has led a compressive 54 of the 68 laps. Only drivers also lead laps, including Seth Wanzing, who led 10, and Zach Millett, who led 3. Hagan is putting an emphasis on why the championship at the moment is poised to stay in the camp of the one machine as long as he can still meet the eligibility requirement before the playoffs. But don't look now. Seth Wanzing is, I think, slowly reeling in, but looking at the last time by, as we'll show the up to speed here, it was a 31.27 to a 31.37 and a 31.30 from Zach Millett. We'll see what happens this time by. Car gets a little upset there on the 8-pin transfer. 33 for Hagan, 31.39 for Wanzing, and a 31.30 for Millett. So Wanzing is the slowest. And we can see right now that's why Millett maybe slowly reeling in the driver of that 5. But I see the line this time. We'll have 4 to go in the stage. Millett also really feeling the upsets of the car. Kind of showing what we saw from Josh Gaiman in the chat. Car being loose after a bump and just making this car hard. So we can see the effects of the tire wear, making this track very hard to drive. But some love it on that edge, life's edge, including our race leader, John Hagan. Keeping an eye on the last stage point at the moment belongs to this man right now, Ryan Pennell. But we have a fight for that last point. Hackney, Pennell, Featherplace, all fighting for the last stage point. Out of these 3, the one that needs it the most is the driver of the 12, who is, I think, 6 back, if I remember my conversation from earlier, 6 back of where the line would be if all the eligibility drivers make it, excluding Bren Roberts, who obviously now will fall outside the top 16. So he's going to try to fight like hell in that pink Georgia Bulldogs machine, as he is now side by side with a 34 Featherplace here as they head off into 3 and 4. Battle for 11th rages on as Hackney looks poised at the moment to take that last stage point. 2 to go in the stage. Still John Hagan about 4/10 clear of Wanzing. Healthy gap. Actually, it's even more than 4/10. Sorry, it's about a second. So we're keeping an eye on that the battle for 11th here. Now 10th. Hackney, Featherplace. Featherplace could use those points in the barrel to help him out and get those extra couple points to give himself a little more of a buffer in the first round of the playoffs. He'll get clear of Hackney at the moment. He'll slot himself up to 10th. Maybe a Team Conti adjacent to Bowie, showing a little bit of help to Brandon Featherplace. But up front, we see Wanzing get caught by Millett, but John Hagan put up about a 1.5 second gap. And as he comes off a 3 and 4, it looks like actually Hackney got a little loose here. He'll lose a spot to Ryan Pennell. Ethan Wood will also lose a spot, but back up front, not to get sidetracked, Hagan will take stage 2 victory, and he will put himself and sweep the stages, try to set himself up for glory going into the final stage, and that will confirm the stage ends. So we'll take a quick look at where the stage results end up. Hagan will take top honors, take both stages. Seth Wanzing will get second. Zach Millett was reeling down Wanzing, but not enough. He'll get third. Dixon, Estes, Marshall, Galloway, Oberstadt, Wright, and then Brandon Featherplace will get the last stage point in. As we start the final stage as well, just a quick update on the bracket challenge. Josh Battle sits in 16th, and obviously Zach Mills in 3rd. So it looks like everything is still to play for here. Obviously things can change, but at the moment looks like it's in Camp Millett. Look in the chat. We also have Austin Mongol joining the chat here. Good to see him out in the chat. Ready to join the broadcast. Oh, not join the chat, to watch the broadcast, I should say. As we'll see, pit stops just open up here. As we'll see drivers come on in, presumably take 4 fresh tires to set up for the final stage. At least I would assume that is the plan. So we see pit stops opening up here. We'll keep an eye. Obviously, this will be an opportunity for Kevin Feemster to, I believe, get one of his laps back. Might as well get the pit road camera here. That's the one we're looking for here. Actually, that doesn't really give us anything, so we'll go to P. Yeah, that camera right here. Hagen's got one of the first boxes. Actually, we'll go with... Yeah, that one's perfect. So we'll see how it plays out here. So as the race-off pit lane concludes, everyone will take 4 tires and fuel. Hagen will win the race-off pit lane. Wanzing, Estes, Millet, Dixon, your top 5. Millet will elect to fix, it looks like he either had a little bit longer pit stop or elected to fix maybe some optional damage, as he had a 16-second stop. Everyone else was in the 14-second range. So looks like even the same thing with Brandon Featherplace. It looks like at the moment, Bowie Esports crew a little bit on the slow spot here for this pit stop. So we officially got the one to go here. Lights on the pace car. Obviously, it's been getting darker and darker, even though we technically started in the dark. Getting darker and darker on track. Hagen will have control of this final restart. It'll be Hagen, Wanzing, Estes, Millet, Dixon, Galloway, Oberstadt, Marshall, Wright, Hackney, your top 10 as they will fire off. Obviously, no pit stop looms in this final stage. Question is, when will a driver elect to take it? If it stays green, we haven't had a full green flag pit stop period yet, as we have cautions in that second stage and first stage. Even the first stage wasn't long enough to open the door for drivers to come on in. So if the stall stays green, we'll find out when drivers elect to pit here. But we'll obviously find out in due time, as we're going to see the green get taken here in just a second. Control will be on Hagen. The green flag is now officially out. We'll get this final stage underway. So stage 1, stage 2, and the final stage will end the same way they started at the point, with John Hagen leading the way, with Wanzing now in tow for second. Obviously, big battles playing out here further in the pack. Wood, Marshall, Oberstadt fighting here. Obviously, Oberstadt made that net gain work on tire call from stage 2. He's going to at least be a little bit further up. Galloway, Dixon, they were battling hard last week. They'll be fighting here again for 5th place honors, with Zach Millet just ahead on the road here. Speaking of, we see up the road, Wanzing slowly reeling back in Hagen. Again, we know he has a good short run car, and he's showing it here tonight. Ooh, 3 wide there. Featherplace, Galloway, and Dixon. Dixon will get clear here. We're going to go back up to the lead, though. Wanzing is just chipped away there. Estes, that's the fast lap of the race, too. And we see game on here for the lead. Wanzing wants it back. He's been knocking on that door, but just can't get the job done. We're going to watch this here. We can see us. We'll keep an eye on this. We're going to go now back to what we saw between Dixon and Millet now, as Galloway got... Sorry, Dixon got clear. Now Galloway's fighting Millet here. Sees what can play out here. We'll see if we can get a good seat on this. Looks like we'll cut on to his team boss, Brandon Featherplace here. So he's got a pretty good seat in the house. We watch now Galloway and the Team Conti machine battling it out for position. Looks like that battle's been pretty much sorted here at the moment. Zach Millett will hang on now side by side between Featherplace and Hackney as they will battle for the spot. Don't look now. Battle for second raging on. One red-white car passing another one. Estes been one of the fastest cars on the track these last couple laps. He is ripping it. So he's going to try to get around Seth Wansing here. And he will, so put Estes now to second. He's going to try to set his sights on catching our race leader, John Hagan. Estes has been on, he has had a couple opportunities, but is yet, I believe, to lead a lap. We'll just check here real fast. Yep, he is not. Obviously had that one over-under move that got thwarted. And now he's going to try to set his sights on trying to lead a lap here and take the lead away from the driver that has been dominant in this race, in John Hagan. He's going to go low here. Seems like that car favors high, but knowing that you want that clean air, he's going to rip it and just hang on to it right now. Now going to switch over under here. Just trying whatever he can do to get that car ahead. So we're going to keep an eye on this. Battle still shaking up further down the field. Featherplace and Hackney, you'll see in the far shot there side by side. Do not want to miss something for the lead here, so we're going to stay on this moment for a moment. We may pivot back in just a minute. Oh, I think Hagan got on the wall just a tiny bit. You can hear some scratching, and that is going to allow Estes to clear. And he will get the job done. So just a little bit of a wall tap there by Hagan. And now Estes can kind of control his own pace in his own field here. On board with the gearbox, he will now lead his first lap of the race on lap 87. And now will have the ability to kind of control the lines. Choose what he wants to do and how he wants to put the car and run the line he wants to run. As well as we kind of watch on the corner panel here, it looked like Hagan had some slight damage, but it looks like it was more just lighting. You see again here just as he goes by. Yeah, no damage. Thought I saw something, but car is still relatively pristine. So we hit 88, top two getting to pull away. We'll cut a little bit further back, just inside the top 10. Hackney was under pressure there from Matthew Kent. Matthew Kent is not for position. Matthew Kent is one down, but he's in a lucky dog battle with Kevin Feemster in the 17. Obviously, Feemster way off the pace here. So it looks like that battle is pretty much set at the moment. So Kent just hoping to get a quick caution here and get his number 15 Bucky's machine back on the lead lap. Further back, Josh battles Mark Dila. Haven't seen much of Dila here tonight, but he is now currently sitting in 14th. Trying to keep his car in the top 14 spots as he battles Josh battles here. So Galloway, Featherplace, Hackney, Oberstadt was seeing our screens here. Oberstadt trying to get a good run here on Hackney. By the way, we're going to cut back to the lead in just a second. It looks like it's getting back up to spiciness, and it is. Hagan is slowly chipping away those last couple laps. He's now on the inside of the 23 of Toby Estes. We'll see if he can fully get the job done here. Going to have to leave some space. Always have to leave the space, and that's going to allow Estes have a run down the straight. It's going to be up to Hagan to try to get a little bit deeper in the corner and slide his way up. Oh, tried to close it, couldn't fully do it. Has to again leave the space. He will lead that lap. However, Estes is still there, but Hagan getting the better exit entries. Feels like it may be a conclusion shortly here, but Hagan has to be wary. He does not want to clear himself and end up hitting the fence. That time by, though, he will get clear. Now, can Estes answer back? Give a little shove to the one. But yeah, they'll run same line here. Hagan to run even higher than Estes. And as smooth as you like, put Hagan now to lead. Estes will fall back to second for at least the time being. Meanwhile, these two have opened up a second gap to our third place car, Seth Wanzing. But as we see Estes clip the wall just a bit there, that's going to open up some breathing room between him and Hagen. We're going to go back to our top 5 battle here. Teammates fighting for 4th between Dixon and Millet. Also, don't speak now, Seth Wanzing there as well for the last spot on the podium. As we see right now, Millet trying to make a move on Dixon. Can't fully get it done. Like I said, you don't want to wreck a teammate if you can help it. So we hit lap number 95. We know a pit stop still looms here. Not 100% what that average is. If anyone can fill me in, that would be great. We know that probably going to maybe cut it in half. Obviously, the cars come in 25, but already past 25 laps. Well, actually, 20 laps to be respective. So we know 50% fuel capacities, I'd say maybe about 30-ish laps. They're going to try to split this, get as close to 50 as they can. But obviously, it will be indicative when we see them come in, as that will give us a clue if they can make it on one more stop or not. Meanwhile, Estes' tires have fallen off and fallen off hard as Seth Wanzing now slowly reeling in that number 23. Estes will go low here. Wanzing will stay high. Estes maybe signaling he's coming in. At the very least, maybe just trying to get a different grip. Yeah, try to change his line. But regardless, outcome still the same. Wanzing now up to second. Estes to third. So that's, again, still getting the bleed and bleed hard here. Millet will get around. Now we got Brian Dixon looking to clear as well. So tire wear not favoring the driver of that 23. As that car is moving further and further backwards. Speaking up front, John Hagen going to put the 17 at Themes for a lap down. Another driver that needed a good day here, as he was one of the last drivers in on points. Yeah, obviously right now he was last driver in if the 4 drivers end up not qualifying. But at the moment, still, if Galloway, Hagen, and Markowski make it through, he would be, if my math is correct, about 30 points back of battles with 4 rounds to play after tonight. So it would be a lot to play for here, as we'll see he will get a put further back here. Yes, he will now get past. Battle for second. Shaping up, Hagen pulled way ahead, 1.6 second gap. Millet going to try to rip it around here. Gets a little squirrely on exit, and that's going to give Wanzing the breathe he needs. But up front, Hagen will hit the magical lap 100. And we got 50 laps to go in this race. Well, 51 to be exact, 50 next time by. Ooh, Estes gets pinched into that wall and pinched a ton. That will cause Featherplace to get clear. So put Featherplace now up 5th. Estes will now slot into 6th. And still continue to fall here. Galloway now up to 6th. Estes down to 7th, just trying to hang on. Further up, we still keep an eye on the battle for second. But we do have a pit stop still looming with 50 to go here. We know Wanzing loves to undercut. So if anyone were to pit, he would probably be the first one. But as I say that, Estes, get a camera on him. There he is. He will come on in. Whether this is scheduled or whether this is just no moss on the tires, regardless, he is now officially in along with Brian Johnson. So it looks like the window is open, at least for the undercutters. Obviously, we'll have to keep an eye on the rest of this field, but obviously with them coming in at that time, it is still too early. As look at that move Millet just made on Wanzing. And that will put Millet up the second. Actually, speaking of, the window has officially opened as our race leader, John Hagen, has come on in. So Hagen in, that will hand the lead down to Zach Millet. So that almost pretty much confirms, looking at obviously lap 76. We're looking at a 28 laps, so 25 runs. We will see at least one more pit stop here before this race ends, and we'll wonder if anyone will elect to take 2 tires. But Hackney, Oberstadt, Vordon in. Now the question is who else will pit here in the short term here. Millet will take the lead. 4 tires in fuel for Hagen. Ethan Wood and Michael Joy will both come in that time by as well. John Hagen is now away, but he's now 1 down. So if a caution were to come out, he would be in a not a great spot, as he would get the lucky dog, but have to go into the longest line. Wanzing, I think, maybe gearing up for a stop here as he's beginning to fall and fall hard. He has clipped his tires, but actually Brandon Featherplace will come in for him. Zach Millet also in as well. So looks like it is the long cut here as Millet really struggles there to get the car slowed down. That could cost him some time here on exit and entry. So that will hand the lead off to Brian Dixon. So it'll be Dixon, Wanzing, Galway, Battles, Pinnell last yet to make their last pit stop, along with Edward Marshall, but Marshall a little bit behind the 8 ball here, and now he'll officially get around Millet, Featherplace, and Wright. So top 3 yet to blink yet. Obviously going long here may hurt them per se, but it will allow them the ability, A, to have fresher tires on the run here to the cars around them. Every lap they put on these cars, they'll have 1 or 2 more fresher laps on their tires, but they'll have to make up that deficit they will be given. So obviously using Wanzing as an example, he was about 1.4 back of Hagen, and depending on when he pits, which I think maybe now, nope, he's still staying out, but depending on how long he goes, could be indicative of how fresh his tires are and how much distance he'll have to cover. So if we take a look, John Hagen, that time I ran a 36.4 on his fresh tires. Our race leader, Brian Dixon, ran a 32.02. So it is night and day, the time difference, as it is about a second and a quarter clear of what our leaders are running. Looks like Seth Wanzing, I believe, just pitted. He has officially pitted, so he will give up second spot. We'll give us 6 runners who have yet to make their final pit stop here. .43 laps to go here. Again, if a caution were to come out, it would benefit greatly the cars staying out here, as they would come in, get fresh tires, and stay on the lead lap. Everyone else have to take the wave around. We'll see Dixon and Galloway both pit. Question is, will Ryan Pinnell follow suit? He looks like he is. He will follow suit, so he will come on in along with Joshua Battles. They've gone the longest they can. This leaves 1 driver left. Edward Marshall yet to make his final stop. Well, I guess not final stop, but a pit stop in this stage. And it looks like he has also ran the tank dry. She's staying out, so never mind. He will go another lap here. Just trying to really push it and hope a caution were to fly. But with Marshall being that far back, Hagen, Millet, Estes, and Co. Actually, I don't think, yeah, no. Yeah, Hagen is now officially in second, and in turn, I think, has unlapped himself. Yep, he, along with Millet, Estes, Dixon, Featherplace, Galloway, Dila, and Wood, have all unlapped themselves. Looks like Marshall will stay out another lap here. Just, again, hoping maybe an ill-timed caution will fall. But while we watch him kind of pace around here, we'll reset the field here. John Hagen at the moment, 4.75 seconds clear of Zach Millet, who's now battling Toby Estes for what will be de facto P2. Then it's Featherplace, Dila, Wood, LaJoy, Hackney, Wanzing, your top 10. Obviously just shows you again the power of the undercut can get you a great distance. However, The problem is now Hagan will have older tires he'll have to hang on to. 2 lap difference between him and Millet, though. However, between him and Wanzing, it's about a 5-lap difference. We saw last week at Darlington. If you can make the tires work and come in, Freshies can help you out on a long run. Still no sign of pitting yet from Edward Marshall. Maybe trying to stretch it on one tank. Obviously, we'll flip it over to laps just for a second to show you. It's lap 112. He currently has gone 36 laps on that tank of gas. And we're at 39 to go. If he can hit another 3 laps, theoretically, can make it on one last stop. Now, obviously, I think the wins could still be out of the cards just because of the principle if he needs to cut this much speed down. And right now you see John Hagan slowly reeling in the machine. Hagan also may not take a 4-tire and fuel stop when he comes back in one more time. He's more than likely going just to come on in and take 2 tires and half a tank of gas possibly with the gap he has. Obviously, it's up to Hagan to decide that call, but I wouldn't be shocked if Hagan takes 2 tires in the position he's in and not take 4. But he could take 4, but regardless, as now Edward Marshall looks like he is now officially coming in. So he will come on in, make it 38 laps to go on this race, make it about 36, 37 laps on a tank. So he is gearing up to make it this his final stop. We'll see if he can make it work. So we'll have to keep an eye on that 16 here. And again, it may not be for a win, but at the very least, the strategy could get him a nice gain and maybe a top 10 or even a top 5. So now with him pitting, we'll recycle the field here. John Hagan is still currently our race leader. He has a 5-second advantage over second place Zach Millett. Battle for third, Brandon Featherplace and Toby Estes there, 3rd and 4th respectively. Still about 5 seconds and change back. We assume every car on track will have to pit at least one more time, maybe excluding Edward Marshall. Then you got Ethan Wood. Came in at 103. He played a strategy well there, doing the undercut. He's gotten his car up to 5th. Seth Wanzing, one of the longest drivers to go on the long strategy. He went to 107. He is now up to 6th, 10 seconds back of our race leader. Then you got Briley Wright in 7th. Michael Joy in 8th. Ryan Dixon in 9th. And Keith Hackney, last car in the top 10, along with Blake Galloway. Noteworthy, Galloway and Dixon came in at 108, so they would even have slightly fresher tires than Hackney by about 6 laps, and it's kind of showing here as they will slowly rip around that driver of the 69. So see Wanzing move around Ethan Wood here. Tries to get clear, can't fully get the job done, but using those fresh tires to his advantage. As we reset the field as well, we have 14 cars on the lead lap. Joshua Battles, last car on the lead lap. Edward Marshall, first car, 1 down, along with Patrick Oberstadt. Oberstadt looks like he deflected a fix, had some damage from something when he came in for his service. Or actually, sorry, I don't think it's damage. Sorry, he speeded along with Ford Donis. They both had 55-second stops, 45 plus 15. So they both got caught for speeding, and that has put them both 1 down along with Marshall, who just went long. So Wanzing will get clear, put Wanzing now to 5th, as he is now about half a second behind Toby. Actually, not half a second, sorry. I believe that is, doing math, 3 seconds to Toby Estes. Then Brandon Featherplace in the last podium spot. Zach Millett in 2nd, but they are still about 5 seconds away from John Hagan. But like I said, we expect one more pit stop here. So we'll have to see if anyone rolls the dice here and tries some differing strategies. Like I said, if a caution were to come out, it would flip this race on its head. Battle shaking up here, I believe. Yep, we see Battle's getting to close up here. Dixon also using those fresh tires along with Galloway as they charge through the field here as well. Dixon going to try to get 6th position back here. Remember, he was leading Wanzing when they came in for service, but Dixon went 1 lap later, and Wands was able to undercut him. Now Dixon gets clear, so put Dixon up to 6. Now Galloway also going to try to follow suit here as well and make a move around Ethan Wood here for 7th. .30 laps to go as our race leader just crossed the line, and John Hagen. And still a lot to play for, but that interval is falling. Millet has cut into it a little bit. But last time by, Millet Hagen ran about dead even times, even with the 2-lap advantage that Millet has on those tires. So actually, we'll drive on board here with Zach Millet here. We'll watch him for a lap or two here, just to show you how he cuts into his times here. That time by, bigger cut away, 31.63 for Hagen, a 31.13 for Millet. And I think actually Hagen had to deal with some traffic there. We just see up the road, I believe that is, I want to say Kevin Feemster again going another down here. Obviously, you can see that car right behind Zach Millet. So actually, we'll come out of that camera for just a second. Yeah, John Hagen putting a Zach Millet another lap. John Hagen putting Kevin Feemster another lap down. But back to the chase we were talking about with 28 laps to go. That time by Millet, again, 2 tenths faster than Hagen. So that gap is falling. It's down to 3.83, now 3.44. So it is beginning to fall here. So it's still game on at the moment. Mark Deal looks like he's officially made his last pit stop here of the race. Well, yeah, because he comes on in. So he'll pit from 14th, and he'll come on in to take service. So 27 laps to go. Hagen, Millet, Featherplace, Estes, Wanzing your top 5. Looks like Estes may have gotten a little bit loose on the apron here, and maybe signaling he's coming in. Yeah, he is struggling. Looks like he is in. He is officially in for his last stop. So Estes is going to go undercut again and try to give himself any chance to catch up here and use those fresh tires to his advantage. That'll put Wanzing up to 4th, everyone up 1 spot behind him as well. Gap has stabilized a little bit between Hagen and Millet. 3.4 is the gap here. Millet's also just dealt with some traffic as well with Mark Dila. Dila does have fresher tires, so Dila will use those to his advantage here and more than likely rip it around here in due time. 25 laps to go. Keep an eye on battles we have on track. Looks like, yep, Dixon and Galloway are pretty much the closest thing we have on track at the moment. But even then, they are still kind of separated by a couple cars. So the single 0 ahead of another number battle we have between the 03 and the 05. Probably have to be a better, catchier name than that. But speaking of, right now, cars pitting. Hagen in for his final stop. 25 laps to go. He is in. We're going to watch him here. See if he likes to take 2 or 4 tires. I think it's a bit too early to pit this early to go for 2. So it's more than likely we'll see 4 tires put on that one machine. He has the gap. He can play with it. So we'll see what he does here as he comes in along with Keith Hackney. Jack's up on the left side. 2 tires taken. Will he elect to take 4? No, he will not. 2 tires is the call for Hagen. He will take 2. Seth Wanzing weirdly went for the overcut. Now in for his final stop as well. You would think pitting late, you would want to go later, but he feels confident he can make it from here. He is in, along with Wright and LaJoy. We'll also just watch Seth Wanzing as well here. We'll see if he elects to take 2 or 4. We saw our race leader take 2. What will the 5 car do as well? Jack's up for 2. We'll go up on the left side as well. He will not as well. He is also away. 2 tires seems to be the name of the game. As Zach Millet now our race leader with John Hagen pitting. There's Keith Hackney leaving the pit lane. So Millet, Featherplace, Dixon, Galloway, Pinnell our top 5. Josh Battle sitting in 6th. Ethan Wood just came in for service. There's Kevin Feems just having a rough night. He is also coming in as well. 22 laps to go, now 21. Blake Galloway, he will pit. Now you're in a bit of a conundrum. The longer you go here, the less time you're going to have to run down, but the more fresh tires you'll have. But I think you're at this point, if you're Millet, Feather Place, you're kind of set on the two-tire call here if you come in. Obviously, coming in at 104 for Millet and Feather Place, 108 for Dixon and Pinnell, that's not enough to make it to the end. Even if they can really stretch it like we saw as we see Feather Place coming in now, even if they stretch it to the number they would need to hit, we saw Edward Marsh, which was 36 laps. That still wouldn't be enough. That would put him in the low 140 range. So, yeah, they will have to pit here. Again, we'll just watch Brandon Featherplace here take tires. We'll see if he takes 2 or 4. More than likely, he'll take 2, but we're just going to confirm it. Yep, 2 tires and away for Featherplace. So, more than likely, that will be the same call for our race leader when he elects to pit here. But 20 laps to go. Hagan has also just unlapped himself, too. So, Hagan, more than likely, yeah, will cycle in with the lead. I think it may be high in time for Millet to come in. He'll hit the low side. I think he is coming in this time by. Yep, virtual hand out the window. He is in. Oh, fighting the car a little bit. Try to get that extra speed. He'll get on the brakes. He'll hit it. So 2 tires is the call here along with Dixon. He'll be in as well. So that will give the lead to Ryan Pinnell here. Bearing he stays out. He will stay out along with Josh Battles. Did the common courtesy. We'll see if 2 tires the same call for Millet. More than likely it will be. Well, we're going to do our due diligence. Yep, he is away as well. So John Hagan, as he comes to the travel right there, good pan. As he will zoom by Zach Millet before even Millet leaves the pit lane. And it's going to be a hefty gap between him and Zach Millet here. To the point where even Brandon Featherplace may jump as we see the battle here shaking up for 3rd when it cycles through between Wanzing and Featherplace. Yeah, Millet well clear, 2 seconds, 2.5 seconds clear of the battle for 3rd here, which will eventually be 3rd when Pinnell and Battles both pit. So to watch this battle rage out in time here between Wanzing and Featherplace. Pinnell and Battles still have yet to pit. Hoping for maybe for a miracle caution or something to flip this race on its head. Wanzing going to try to go low and make the lunge. Still can't fully get up right now. Gonna try to put the box on Featherplace. Still side by side. Oh, bit of contact there. That's what, if you're a Hagan fan, you do not want to see. Cars scrapping here to bring out a caution. That's going to put Wanzing a little bit back behind the 8 ball behind Featherplace. Now gaps half a second. Back up front, still Ryan Pinnell. Last came in at 108. He will not be able to make unless he's got a fuel reserve somewhere that I don't know. He'll have to pit for the end of this race along with Josh Battles. Battles, meanwhile, coming down to pit. Saw a car pull off the track there. Not sure who it was. Maybe the 29. Nope, it was a black machine. Regardless, unimportant now. Battles, Hagan will get around because obviously saw a car go way low there. Could have easily been a caution depending on how they hit the wall, but luckily no caution is called. Battle's now officially in. He's admitted his goose is now cooked. He is in. And again, same thing. Unless we get a miracle caution here, it's more than likely the bracket challenge will go home to Zach Millet. But can't discredit Josh Battles here for trying. Put up a great fight here throughout this tournament. Obviously, still not over yet. Anything can happen. Ryan Pinnell now will also come in. He will give up the lead. He will come in for his last stop, cycling the lead back to John Hagan. So John Hagan now coming with 13 laps to go. Final pit stop's officially done. It's Hagan, Millet, Featherplace, your top 3. Wanzing 4th, Estes 5th. Then it's Marshall, Galloway, Dixon, Wright, LaJoy will presumably be your top 10 when all said and done. Marshall trying maybe to make it to the end here without having to pit again. But we'll see if he can stay inside the top 10 on that call. Galloway and Dixon side by side. There's Josh Battles. He's going to blend up here. That will not be for position. He'll just blend up here. We'll have fresher tires, so he could be a bit of a disruptor for this battle. Pretty hefty gap between our top two, so we will cut to that in just a moment. We do want to watch this battle here as it rages on. Looks like the 03 will win the day, at least for now, in his Toyota Camry. But we'll see if Galloway can challenge back here. We're going to cut back up to our race leader, John Hagen, on the backstretch here. Half a lap away from starting, 10 to go here. Show you how big the gap is to the leader here. John Hagen currently 8 seconds clear of Zach Millett, who's going to need a caution of anything to get back into contention here. Brandon Featherplace now the second and change back. Seth Wanzing 11 seconds back to the leader. Then you got Toby Estes about 15. Brian Dixon about 20. Galloway also about 20. Then right over 20. And just to finish up the top 10, Michael Joy 21.38. And then Edward Marshall sitting in 23 seconds back. So Hagen has really done the calls correctly here. That undercut gave him the distance. He still had the speed in those tires, and it is showing to a treat here, as now we see 9 laps to go in this race. Again, with most of the field being separated here, the caution is very unlikely. Obviously, anything can happen. We saw Hagen was well poised in one snap. We saw it early in this race with Gaiman getting a little loose and him snapping as well. We've seen Kyle's car snapping, so anything can still happen here. This race is not done and dusted or signed, sealed, and delivered. Well, we got these laps remaining as well. I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in here on ABN Studios for the ARCS Kansas 240. My name is Kevin Young. It's been great calling this action, and we're glad and hope you've enjoyed it as well, as we have 8 laps to go here. John Hagen still a commanding lead. Hagen one of only 2 drivers have double-digit wins this season. And at the moment, he is looking poised to add another one to that counter. 3 wins, looking to make it 4. Only other driver with multiple wins is Zach Millett, the car currently in second. He's looking ready to join. Maybe not matching his total from last season, but still putting up a great effort here in his second full-time season. 6 laps to go now with him crossing the line now. Millett has been able to cut in about half a second, but unless he can sprout some wings, it is not looking good for that 31 to catch the driver of that one. Five laps to go here. Go by in a flash if you're not careful. Hagen going to catch, actually that's Mill going to catch a little traffic, but we'll go back to Riley Slater, who's actually in traffic. He's got Brian Johnson ahead of him, and I believe one other car. We'll just go on board. Yep, it's the 16 of Edward Marshall. He's just trying to not go on one last stop here. Currently sitting in 11th, so it's a net positive for him still. But now he'll go a lap down officially. Well, net positive from when he stayed out. 4 laps to go. Estes is going to fall another spot. He's going to get passed by Galloway here. He's really struggled on the long run. Other than that, Featherplace looks poised to keep third as he's opened up a healthy gap to Wanzing. Millett, healthy gap to Featherplace. And Hagen, a healthy gap to both of them. So again, unless we see something extreme happen, it is more than likely our top 3 is set in stone with 3 laps to go here. But again, stranger things happen on a racetrack. I think the next question for Hagan is, can he get another car lap down? Let's go around and board them. I think that is Ethan Wood just up the road there, going for 3 and 4 as we speak, halfway through 3 and 4, but unlikely he'll put him a lap down. So lapping up to the top 10 seems to be the highest he'll go here for Hagan as we hit 2 laps to go. Hagan, Millet, Feather Place, Wanzing, Dixon, your top 5. This is also a great day for Bowie Esports. They will extend their lead in the Constructors with 3 of their drivers inside the top 5, keeping the power of line power spirit going and try to give Toyota a 3rd straight Constructors Championship. But as we come across the line, white flag in the air, 1 lap to go here. John Hagan has not put a foot wrong all today. See, obviously you can see he's led 110 of the 150 laps, looking poised to make it 111 if he can lead this last lap and capture the checkered flag. Millet has closed up a little bit, gap of 4 seconds, but it's not going to be enough here as Hagan is taking it easy, making sure not to bungle it. And as he comes off of 4, he will join the 4 Winners Club. John Hagan, your winner here today, and he will capture a 4th checkered flag, firmly putting himself in the playoffs to give himself another 5 points to help him in the playoff hunt. Zach Millet will come home in 2nd, and Brandon Featherplace there will come home in 3rd, just to show you 2nd and 3rd. Wanzing, the hometown boy, will come home in 4th, and Brian Dixon will get the last spot in the top 5 and get top 5 honors. But John Hagan, again, we'll get a little congratulatory bump here from Zach Millet. Also, Millet, remember, also has won the bracket challenge, so even though Millet couldn't take the checkered flag, he, at the very least, will get a prize for his honors. Featherplace looks like he was also trying to help give a little tap there to Kent, but maybe a little bit of love lost between the two there. Yeah, Featherplace ran up a little bit on Kent. Maybe a bit of untempers, but regardless, that is up for the them to talk out. Regardless, though, it is going to be a burn down to remember for John Hagan here, your race winner here at Kansas. So let Hagan finish up his little burnout here. Let's do a little extra couple spins. You're just going to let the horsepowers of the engine run. Do not go anywhere. We'll hear from our top 3 shortly, as they'll have a lot to say about here tonight. We'll hear from Hagan, Millet, and Featherplace. But while they file in, we'll take a quick look at the final results. Let's pull that off the screen. We'll take a quick look at the final results. Hagan takes the checkered flag in a commanding fashion, with Millet and Featherplace rounding out the top 3. Wanzing, Dixon, Galloway, Estes, Wright, LaJoy, Wood, your top 10. They will also be the last 10 on the lead lap. Ryan Pinnell will finish 11th, first car 1 down, with Marshall, Dila, Hackney, your top 14. And then it will be Battles, Oberstadt, Vordon, Johnson, Kent, Feemster, last of the cars to finish, with Gammon being the first of the retirements, along with McDonough, Markowski, Flemings, with Baxter not taking the flag. So as we get ready, we'll check to see if everyone is good to go in the interview room here. We'll also make sure mics are hot and ready to go. So I believe that is the right one. Should probably label these. But anyway, we'll pop on in, make sure, I'm not even in the booth technically, so let's get in the booth. And then we'll drag everyone in accordingly. So we'll hear from our race winner first, John Hagan. We'll hear his thoughts now. John, this is Kevin, the ABM booth. You got a copy?
Hello, Kevin.
Obviously a very eventful day, maybe a little more lackadaisious how you were out there, but still a dominating performance to say the least that we'll have to go over. So starting off, obviously you put on a good show there in the pole car, and that thing seemed like it was on rails. So we knew you love these 1.5-mile-an-hour tracks, but what was the secret to getting the speed out of that car?
Oh, I was actually a little lost on the way the tires were weighing. It just didn't make sense. But I mean, these runs are so short, anyways. It's like there was no real chance for anybody in the field to really save and give back up to me when I killed my stuff because I definitely was doing that. So, I mean, I just timed the runs out appropriately so that I didn't get caught behind the 8 ball with fresher tires.
Mm-hmm. Well, definitely it caught you out well, and we saw those strategies work for the undercut, and that was going to actually go into my next question, because first stage, second stage, you pulled it out, and we saw you go for a very audacious undercut, and we saw it week in and week out. The undercut last couple weeks was not the call, the overcut, but it was very shocking that you went for the undercut, and overall, it worked out to a treat. So, again, kind of elaborating on your point, though, about the tires not falling off and getting the fresh tires on. Was that your secret to doing the undercut, and were you shocked that no one else followed you in under that undercut in the final stage?
I mean, it wasn't even an undercut, though. We restarted with 72 to go in the race, so it was 24 lap stints each time. You'll be, I don't know, it's crazy. I never, like, I figured people would have noticed this, but now I never do anything else other than going 24, 24, 24, whatever splits the run into even stages. I just changed it up and took 2 at the end of the race right there. Because, I mean, you do 24 laps on your left, they're barely worn. So, I mean, that was the only thing I really did. It was even in stage 2, I went right down the middle. Well, I guess the caution came out, but I was planning to go literally like 1 lap later right down the middle anyways.
Looking further on, obviously, you talked about the 2-tire call there late. Obviously not affecting much. Looking at the point, track conditions as well. We saw Clutch had a few drivers, but again, how did the track feel out there as well with the bumps in the surface? Did the thing feel relatively planted, or were there points where the car felt like it could kick out from under you?
It would start out pretty well planted for 10 to 15 laps, and it was a false sense of security because once you hit 15 laps, it almost cliffs. The right rear wore really, really bad. Like each run, I was coming in with my right rear worn 10% more than my right front. And I mean, I tried probably on each run something different to save the right rear on it, and nothing worked. So, I mean, it got really sketchy. Like that last run, I don't know if y'all were on it on the broadcast. I pounded the wall with like 4 to go just because I had no right rear grip. But, I mean, it was planted till it wasn't. That's about the only way I could put it. And you really couldn't run the bottom to save it. It almost wore worse on the bottom. So, I mean, you had to run top to prevent people from passing. And then at the same time, it was like the only place you could catch those slides.
Yeah. So, obviously, yeah, we saw that catch up a lot of people with the slides, but actually some good insight there to show you what the drivers were dealing with on the track. But looking ahead, obviously, after we have next week off for Father's Day weekend, and then we have 4 rounds to go. Obviously, if you make all 4 races, you're in the playoffs. I guess we'll ask the honest question here. Can you make all 4 races? And in turn, yeah, can you make all 4 races coming up, or is there any concerns of maybe not making the next 4 rounds?
That is the plan, is to make the next 4 rounds, but I don't know with work. Work is being really annoying about my hours right now. So that's the plan, is to make all 4 races, but I mean, only time will tell.
Yeah, only time will tell indeed. But we've gotten to the point of the show. Does anyone want to thank family, friends, sponsors to have you? Floor is yours. Take it away.
Shout out John Smale and the rest of the SRD team. Appreciate having them in the voice call during the race. They're a fun group to hang out with. Shout out A Squared and ARCS as a community for putting on this league. It's awesome week in, week out, so thank you to them. Shout out to PRS for the setups. Shout out you, Kevin, and everybody else at ABN that puts on these broadcasts and does an amazing job at it. Kudos to y'all. Shout out my beautiful girlfriend, as always, for putting up with me doing this week in, week out. And shout out to my family back home who's watching.
Oh, and I guess that is all. Ending on the family there. Thought you'd have one more, but regardless, it's been great talking to you, John. Enjoy Father's Day weekend off, and hope you'll get geared up, and we'll see you on the following week. So take care. Have a good rest of your week.
Thank you.
And that was our race winner, John Hagan. That will move us on nicely to our second place finisher. We'll hear from him now, Zach Millett. Zach, this is Kevin in the ABN booth. You got a copy?
Hey, Kevin, what's up?
Not a lot. I was calling a race here, but obviously you had your hands full on the track. So we'll have to start at the beginning again. Obviously, we heard some of Hagen's struggles, and we saw kind of the same. You had a very shocking qualifying performance, at least from your standards. So what happened during qualifying?
When I got home from work, I basically had to take the work shirt off, run down, do a few laps with the Conti guys. I got 10 or 11 laps in. That's it over there. I jumped in just enough time to get about 9 or 10 laps over here. So I was extremely unprepared tonight. I didn't have a strategy, didn't have didn't have anything. I just was kind of winging it,
Mhm.
and yeah, I think my fast lap I missed turn one, and then I don't think I did much better in turn three. So yeah, that was an obliteration.
You always show why you're one of the strong drivers in the field, though, pulling out and catching up and making moves like days. So we obviously caught up for the field, first stage, second stage. We obviously asked Hagen this question. We'll ask the same question to you. Seemed like tires were a bit of a concern here, as it looked like you couldn't even get truly a run going. So thoughts on the tires, and in turn, thoughts on the track, as it seemed like with the tires being so poor, it caught a lot of drivers out there when the tires cliffed about 20-ish laps.
Yeah, Kevin, it definitely caught me. I wasn't ready at all for any of that, and the way they cliffed was just, I think John mentioned it. It was just sudden. It was just all of a sudden that right rear was gone, and it just sucks. I wish we had another 100 laps because I kind of figured it out the last one there, but I don't know. My first two stints, I was kind of taking it easy on entry and just kind of get back to the gas early.
Mm-hmm.
Getting a better run down the straights. But it was kind of the opposite to save your tire for kind of a long run. You had to dive it in real hard on the right front, and then just kind of be ginger on the throttle off exit. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we're making some time at the end, but I know John was just out there taking it easy. He's smart, and yeah, hell of a job to him, man. It was a good win.
Yeah, looking for that. Obviously, we talked about that strategy where he came in and did split the stages, and you went a little long going for the overcut. Obviously, you talked about maybe your lack of preparation coming in, but was there a thought of maybe following in Hagen when he came in? Or are you like, just stick what I know works? The overcut seems to be prevalent week in and week out.
Yeah, I figured if I came in with him, I'd still be behind him probably 3, 4, maybe even 5 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
There was a little bit of a gap behind me, and I figured with the pace, I was planning on two most of that last run. So I knew with the pace, I could probably gain back some of it. Of course, kind of hoping for a caution the entire time, but you rarely get one of those towards the end of the race over here, which is a good thing. But yeah, I don't know. I felt like we had good enough pace at the end there to, kind of make a run, but we were just too far back there after the cycle.
Mm-hmm. Looking on, obviously, to the final, obviously, Sage come in, took two tires. Obviously, everyone's taking two tires. It's obviously four tires would have been a bit too long. We saw you catch in late there. Obviously, you said you found it out. Obviously, we won't speak in the term of hypotheticals because obviously, caution, not a caution. But do you think maybe had 10 more laps? Do you think you could have maybe if it stayed green would have caught Hagen, or was just Hagen taking it easy knowing he had the gap?
Yeah, I think Hagen was driving smart. He was taking it easy where he could. I think I would have needed a lot more than 10. Um, I don't know, maybe 20, 25. I would have taken 100.
Mm-hmm.
We can go back. Let's do it.
Yeah. Looking onward, obviously, as well, congratulations on winning the Bracket Challenge. You have won that, so congratulations on that. Obviously, we have the week off next week. Obviously, now you out of the playoffs, not meeting the eligibility requirements. We knew there were some question marks on whether or not you'd be able to make any of the other rounds. So what's the calendar looking for Millet here? Do you think we'll see you back in the car for hopefully before playoffs end?
Well, we were just talking about that a little bit, and I mean, it does suck, being second in points and not being able to run the playoffs. That's pretty goofy, but
Mm-hmm.
it is what it is. Rules are rules, and I'm not even upset about it. It kind of opens up my Sundays for the Conti stuff I do. Get more time to go run those guys, and if my team needs me over here, I'm more than happy to jump in whenever needed. And yeah, who knows? Maybe we might show up here and there, but it definitely takes the pressure off Sundays.
Yeah, takes the pressure off indeed. Obviously, going out there for fun, but obviously opens up your Sundays as well. But we got into the point of the show. I want to thank family, friends, sponsors, what have you. Floor is yours. Take it away.
Kevin, shout out to you first and foremost for the broadcast. ABN Studios, you do an awesome job. Big thanks to Bowie Esports, EMR Paintball, Team Conti Sim Performance as always, and shout out to the Bandit guys, Bandit Racing tonight. Those guys jumped in with us, and we had a lot of fun tonight. It's awesome racing with those guys. It was great having them in the Discord. So, and shout out to all the viewers. Thank you.
Yeah, great talk to you, Zach. Obviously, enjoy the next week off, and obviously hope we see you before the season's end. And if you do see you again, we'll definitely more likely be talking to you. So take care. Have a good rest of your week.
You too. Thank you.
And that was our second place finisher, Zach Millet. We got one more left. Brandon Featherplace, we'll hear from him now. Looks like he may have had a little talk to with Seth Wanzing, but we'll hear him now. Brandon, this is Kevin in the Kevin in the ABN booth. You got a copy?
I do. How's it going?
It's doing good as well. We talked about it with Zach Millet, and we'll talk about beginning as well. Looking at the beginning, you had again a uncharacteristic qualifying performance from you. Put the car in, I believe, 13th. So what happened during qualifying? We obviously heard from Millet, not a lot of practice time coming in late, and also missing the corner. So what happened to you during qualifying that caused the car to be so far back?
Um, just missed the mark, I guess. I mean, the field was pretty close this week. especially in qualifying. So, I just missed the mark. I didn't do what I needed to do and put the car further back in the field.
Mm-hmm. Looking onward, obviously, we're slowly but sneakily climbing our way up for the field and making waves. And we asked the question to both Millett and Hagen. We'll ask the same question to you, talking about the tire wear on the track and talking about the conditions. We saw about Cliff around 20 laps, and it made the right front or the right rear fall off. And at that point, you were basically, fighting for your life. So would you share the same sentiments as those two drivers, feeling that at a certain point it just felt like it was undrivable with the tires in the condition they were?
Yeah, I mean, the tire fall off here was really bad. Like you said, probably 15, 20 laps, something like that. I think everyone struggled with that tonight. It was managing your throttle inputs helped, but it didn't negate it. So you were gonna burn up the right rear or the right front regardless. I I was having a little bit more right rear wear, as you may or may not have seen. I I got pretty loose out of four a couple times and out of two. Um, but that's just part of it. This track is, especially with our set tonight, was pretty hard on tires. So it was just trying to mitigate what you had and make the best of it.
Mm-hmm. And we saw obviously you do that job quite well as you were carving up the field. Other drivers were short-term fast, but really struggled when they hit that cliff. Looking onward, not looking onward, looking further onto the race. We saw you go late there, try to make the overcut work, and at the turn, slowly working with the field. But we got to talk about it. We saw you and Wanzing battle, and then a little bit of contact happened between the two of you. So I guess we'll ask from your perspective, what happened between you and Wanzing there during that final pit stop run there?
I was kind of aggravating him in the chat a little bit. It was kind of like Nashville a couple years ago. I left him room, and he had a run, and I don't know if he misjudged coming up to get ready for the corner or what he did, but he got into my left rear just a little bit, and I thought we were both going to die. But uh, but luckily, we were able to keep it halfway straight. I understand what he was doing. He had the run and he needed to take it to try to get in front of me. But we just I feel like maybe working on that the FOV, or his point of view behind the cockpit there. What he sees might help out with that. But it is what it is. We bump and bang a little bit, but I don't think he was trying to kill me by any means.
Mm-hmm. Very political answer there, but hey, at the very least, though, it did answer the question, to say the least. Looking onward, obviously, we have off week next week, and then we got 4 rounds left: Dover, Road America, Kentucky, and Talladega. Obviously, with your win and your consistency, you are more than likely going to make the playoffs, unless, fell off a cliff. Obviously, with the win, I mean more attendance in that regard. Out of those 4 tracks I listed, Dover, Road America, Kentucky, and Talladega, what do you think is the strong track for Mr. Brandon Featherplace? Obviously, we talked to you last week. You assumed Kansas, this is not going to be a track in wheelhouse, and you still got a podium out of it. So out of those 4 tracks, what do you think you got circled that give you the best chance to put that 34 in victory lane?
I think it's no secret. It's Kentucky. It's right down the road here, probably about an hour away from my house. So I love running there. I love racing there. Just testing there. I mean, that's a really fun track. I really enjoy that track. So that'll be the one that I'm looking for.
All right. It's been actually, we've gotten to the point of the show. I want to thank family, friends, sponsors, what have you. Floor is yours. Take it away.
First and foremost, thanks to my team, Bowie Esports, Zach Millett, Brian Dixon. Ross wasn't here. Something came up with him. We had Briley and Toby in our chat. They were awesome to work with. Those are great guys. Thanks to y'all for the broadcast, as always. Thanks to everyone that watches. Thanks to all the admins and the league for putting this on, and we'll go get them here in 2 weeks.
All right. It's been great talking to you, Brandon. Enjoy the week off, and we'll see what you bring back in that next 2 weeks' time. But take care. Have a good rest of your week.
Thank you. You
And
too.
that was our third place finisher, Brandon Featherplace. And with that, our interviews are now officially closed. So we'll take one final look at the results here, go over it one more time just for prosperity stakes. And obviously, we'll have to reset the graphic here. John Hagen will take the victory again in a dominating fashion with Millet and Featherplace rounding up the top three. Like I alluded to, Zach Millet has now won the Bracket Challenge. So he is now officially the champion of that, and whatever jewels it brings him. Wanzing and Brian Dixon will round the top five. Obviously, Dixon was charging late there. Wanzing, strong carb, just seemed to struggle with the cliff. Then you got Blake Galloway. Toby S. another car that was very strong, but just dealt with cliffing issues. Briley Wright, obviously good to see him back along with Estes. Michael Joy and Ethan Wood will round out the top 10. Ryan Pinnell, again, first car, one lap down. That finish will help him a little bit, as with some other playoff drivers like Feemster and Battles and a few others finishing a lap down and finishing 11th. That will give Pinnell some good points to try to make a late charge here to get himself in that 12 in the playoffs in what you could probably argue could be the last call. Marshall, Dila, and Hackney get 11th through 14th. Moving onward down the results, you got Battles. Obviously can't shorten the Bracket Challenge, but hey, he's had 2 great years in the Bracket Challenge, and next year could easily be knocking on the door to find victory. Patrick Oberstadt, called late, but just got stuck there. He'll finish one down. Vordon, Johnson, Kent, Feemster rounding out the top 20, with Gaiman, McDonough, Markowski, and Fleming being 21st, 24th. Obviously, Gaiman and Fleming just not happy with the tires and obviously the mistakes, but they will be strong next week along with McDonough and Markowski. And as Brian told us, Ross Baxter not here this evening as something's come up, but we'll see him back on the track next week. So that will be how the 25 drivers run out here tonight. So again, just like to thank everyone again for tuning in here. Obviously, enjoy next week off. It is Father's Day weekend, so obviously if you have a father, or if you are a father, spend it with your family regardless, and enjoy the time, and regardless, enjoy the weekend. And we will see you here back next week for, just going to confirm, it is Dover. It is Dover, and we will see you there as we are on the last call for the playoffs. 4 rounds separate these drivers, and the field of 16 getting set. And we'll see how they all line up, and we'll answer how those questions can get answered. Can Hagen meet the eligibility requirements? In turn, if he can't, does that open the door for another driver? We'll keep an eye on the bubble line as well. Right now, that is currently still Battles, but that can easily change on a moment's notice, especially with Talladega being the ultimate wild card. But regardless, thank you for tuning in. My name is Kevin Young. Enjoy the week off, and we'll see you back here next week on ABN Studios, 7 o'clock for Dover. But take care. Have a good rest of your week.